Austin 316 says I just whipped your...
Stone Cold!
You sit there and call yourself the gorilla, yet you hee-haw out here like a jackass. What? I said shut up. You can kiss my ass.
Kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya.
What? And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Welcome back to the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin. This week is episode 69, Armageddon in a Cell. We are covering November through December of the year 2000. I'm Mike Prue, along with JV as always. JV, how's it going? I already know what you're going to say, but how's it going?
Well, it's going well, so that's a plus. Now that we got past our technical difficulties.
Yeah, so that's what we've been dealing with. So the audio might sound slightly different. We don't know, but JV's headset exploded. Something happened to it. I don't know exactly, but the wires are bursting out of it, and it's all fucked up. So we couldn't use it, and we messed around with a couple different mics, and this is the one we settled on. So hopefully it sounds as good as we sound. I'm not saying that we ever sound tremendous because, you know, we're using basic stuff here. We're not going to fucking studio.
Yeah, we have amateur equipment. So,
right.
But basically, I used to use a headset, a Logitech G430 headset, which is what Mike uses.
Yes.
And I don't know, I use it to game and stuff. So I took it off. And when I went to take it off with my left hand, the left earpiece that the mic's on kind of like snapped at the seam. So I tried using duct tape and everything to kind of like get it back on because it really wasn't sitting on my head comfortably. And, you know, we're sitting here for a good hour and a half, 2 hours. And, you know, you want to be comfortable. So it really wasn't working. I couldn't hear sound out of it. It was just a fucking pain in the ass. So I have another pair of headset, which we tried to use. But when we were trying to use it, there was like this weird static in the background when we did a couple test runs. So now I'm using like a freestanding mic, almost like a studio mic. So hopefully this sounds good because technically this is supposed to be a better mic than the other two.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it sucks, I want to know. Yeah, I want to know if it sounds like shit so I can return this piece of shit mic that I clearly got overcharged on.
All right. It's always something. So, yeah, that's what we had to deal with. And now we're going to bring this episode to you. So we're at Armageddon. We're getting to the end of 2000 here. We're in December. And we got a big match to cover. Just about everybody's involved in the match.
Yeah, all the A+ players from the year 2000.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there anyone missing?
I can't think of anybody that's a big star that's not in this match. I mean, the one outlier that shouldn't be there is Rikishi. So, I mean, there had to be...
Yeah.
If there was a bigger star, then they would have been involved in all of these angles.
Yeah,
you know?
that's a good point.
But Rikishi got that spot, and here he is in this match. So, I thought we were done with him, but not quite. Not just yet. Maybe after this. When we get to the end here. At the end of that match, it seems like maybe he's gone for a little while. But we'll get to that in just a moment. I do want to just give our plugs and how you can reach us on social media. We're on Twitter at BottomLineCast. And you can follow me, Mike Prue, at MPRU83. And JV is at John Van Damage. And we also have a YouTube channel you can check out that has our episodes available there for you to listen to. You're obviously listening to this right now, however you are, but YouTube is just another option if you'd like to check it out there. So that's that. One other thing. We do have another show. It's called the Extreme ECW Livecast, and it's a Patreon show. And it's not our own Patreon. It's the Patreon of Booking the Territory, the Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast. And we're available on their $5 tier. So they pump out a lot of good content in that show. And on their Patreon feed, they're always updating. They always have other review shows like World Clash Championship Wrestling. And we do the ECW show. So we are just about a year in. We started in April 93, and we are heading into March of 94. So if you want more of us and you want to see what we have to say about early ECW, check it out over at Booking the Territory Patreon. It's a watch-along format, too. So gets you to actually go back and watch some of that shit that you probably never would watch. But maybe you'll watch along with us. So check that out. And let's get into this, though. So last week we covered Survivor Series. So we started with Survivor Series. Also had a match with Triple H. And the story continues from there. Austin actually got back to wrestling. He had a good match with Chris Benoit. He had a match against Kurt Angle. So Austin is working full time basically again at this point. At least on Raw and SmackDown, he's having matches. And that's kind of where we left off. And we're starting to build up now to Armageddon. And Mick Foley is going to make a big announcement on SmackDown 67, which is November 30th of 2000. It was taped on November 28th, and it's from Minnesota, Minneapolis. So that's how we're going to kick off. Mick Foley has a backstage segment to start the show. And, without any big promo or anything, they just say, earlier tonight, Mick Foley tells Rikishi, The Rock, Undertaker, Triple H, and Stone Cold separately that they all have a title shot. So he goes one by one to each guy, like, all right, you're number one contender. And they're all thinking, oh, great, cool, I'm the number one contender. But as the viewer, we're seeing that, oh, shit, how are they all number one contenders? So Mick Foley is going to have to explain that. Kurt Angle doesn't really
he's kind of a mess of a GM.
Yeah, he is.
Like, get your house in order, bro.
It has been a shit show with him as the commish. Ever since Austin came back, though.
That's true.
Because prior to
That's
Austin
what Austin
coming back,
does, yeah.
Right, he disrupted the whole flow of what Foley was doing. Foley even mentions at times that, it wasn't until you came back where everything started to go to hell, basically. And that's exactly like you said. That's Stone Cold's character is the.
And I think we're even on record. We're even on record as saying that when he, maybe it should have been Mick Foley that was behind the driver's seat of the accident there. So
right, and the only reason why it wasn't is because he's probably not able to wrestle at this point, and he doesn't want to wrestle because he's taking time. He's taking time off. He doesn't want to take any more bumps. Maybe he was even told that, like, all right, you gotta quit. You can be on TV, but you gotta stop taking huge bumps. So anyway, that brings us to a promo later in the show with Mick Foley. He's gonna bring out these guys, The Rock, The Undertaker, to start here. So Mick goes out there. He cuts his promo. He says, Kurt Angle is a double-talking liar. Mick says he's right about the WWF, though. So Kurt Angle's thrown a hissy fit about how the WWF is, just a bunch of degenerates and too much violence and just not a safe working environment and all that shit. So Mick Foley says he agrees with that. At least Angle is right about that. There shouldn't be people hitting each other with cars, dropping cars from forklifts, and choke slamming people off a stage, which is what Undertaker did to Kurt Angle the prior week. But he does say, he said, well, maybe that one was pretty cool, that Kurt Angle got choke slammed off the stage. Then Mick talks about how Austin was about to win the WWF title, but Triple H caused the DQ in his match with Angle. And we covered that last week when Stone Cold got that title shot against Angle, but Triple H made his return after dropping from a fucking forklift about 50 feet in the air and survived with no problem. But he's back here. And Mick says that, that was a screw job. And Survivor Series has been known for screw job ever since the Montreal screw job.
Basically, it's reputation. I mean, even the past few years at Survivor Series, it's gotten that, right? Like,
right.
There's been kind of like some shady shit going on.
Yep. So Mick says, screw the screw jobs. He's all done with the screw jobs. And he's going to say, there's not going to be any more of this bullshit. We're gonna settle it. everybody's getting involved with each other, so everyone's going to get a shot at this title. So he's going to name the 5 number 1 contenders. You get The Rock, Rikishi, Stone Cold, Undertaker, Triple H. And this leads The Rock to head out to the ring. He thought he was going to have his own title shot. Because at the top of the show, that's what they make it seem like, is that everyone's going to get their title shot. Now you have Mick Foley saying, well, they're all number 1 contenders. So Rock comes out pissed, like, hey, I thought I was a number 1 contender. I beat Rikishi, which we covered last week. It was a number 1 contenders match. Rikishi versus The Rock. The Rock won it. But now he's a number 1 contender. But so are 4 other people. So he's a little dicked off, as he should be, about that situation.
Yeah, he has every right to be disgruntled.
Right, you just won a fucking match. And now you're saying, oh yeah, everybody else can have the title shot too. That just shows with the writing that they probably didn't know what the hell they were doing either. Like, no, let's just have everybody in there. We'll do Hell in a Cell. Even though we just had this number 1 contenders match. I mean, that's at least my thinking of it. It's like, Rock versus Kurt Angle, that's not big enough. Let's get them all involved. Just my 2 cents there. So anyway, The Rock says,
Can't really disagree with you, so.
No. The Rock says it doesn't matter, though, so he accepts it. He's like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter who the number 1 contenders are because I'm still getting my shot at the title at Armageddon, and he'll have to just go through all the other number 1 contenders. So the Undertaker comes out at that point. Undertaker says he's all in for a shot against Kurt Angle. He doesn't care about everybody else. He's like, I just want to fuck up Kurt Angle, basically, is his logic. And then Mick Foley's going to announce Stone Cold to come out. And Stone Cold heads out there. And then Triple H will follow, then Kurt Angle. So you get everybody fucking coming out here in this kind of opening of the show. And Austin goes out there and says, if you want Mick Foley to bottom line this whole thing, give me a hell yeah. So Stone Cold tells Rikishi to get his ass out here. And then Mick Foley calls out Triple H. Triple H says all these guys have been intertwined with each other. Mick Foley makes it a point to say, oh, you guys are always screwing each other over. And that's why we're going to settle this. There's not going to be any run-ins, no DQs. It's going to be a Hell in a Cell match for the WWF Championship. And then this is what leads Kurt Angle to come out and be like, what the fuck?
That did not go as requested.
Yeah. It's like, Jesus, I got all these guys as the number 1 contender now, and it's going to be a Hell in a Cell match. So Kurt Angle goes on to say, I've defended this title with respect, with honor, and class. And Mick says he had no other choice. And there will be hell taking place in a cell until there is a WWF champion. And if anyone, including Kurt, has a physical altercation tonight on this show, on SmackDown, they will lose their title shot, and Kurt would lose his title. So Triple H reminds Mick that he's retired because Triple H retired Mick's ass at No Way Out, which is going to be a big storyline building to Armageddon, is Triple H and Mick Foley in the Hell in a Cell at No Way Out, which is a fucking brutal match. We kind of had to gloss over it because Austin wasn't around during that time, but that was a hell of a match. And it's a good reason why Mick Foley isn't wrestling, because some of the shit he did there was just as bad as what he did against The Undertaker in that classic.
That's why we love you, Mick.
Yep. So Triple H brings out Stephanie McMahon. This is kind of fucking random. Like, you have this all-intense conversation about the championship. Then Triple H brings out his wife and says it's their 1-year anniversary.
Yeah, what a fucking attention hog.
Yeah. And then, they're all invited to it, but he makes a point to say to Austin, you're especially invited because I know you weren't around here last year because you had a broken neck. So, fucking giving a nice little dig there to Stone Cold. So, you have that, and Stone Cold is going to be a thorn in his side throughout the night. So, Triple H is kind of scared of what Austin may do during this night. So, we have a series of backstage segments throughout this episode. Okay, so it's mixed into the show. So like every 10 minutes or so, we get another little segment of Triple H and Stephanie celebrating their anniversary. And it starts off with Triple H telling Harvey Whippleman to watch the door, watch his locker room door, because somebody might be coming to visit, and he wants to know everybody that's coming to the door before they get let in, because he's worried about Austin, so he's paranoid that Austin may come. So the first guest that visits ends up being Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit visits and offers Triple H the offer that, I'll kick Austin's ass if you want me to. And Triple H tells him, just worry about Chris Jericho and Billy Gunn, who's going to have a match against with later. Kurt Angle comes in, and Triple H is actually in the bathroom at the time, and he tries to get Stephanie to be in his corner at Armageddon. He needs her now, and she says, "Oh no, I need to be there for my husband, for Triple H." And they kind of like shake hands or give each other a hug. And then just moments later, Triple H walks back in and is like, "Hey, what the hell's going on in here?" And he's pissed off.
Yeah, they're acting all awkward. Like
Yeah.
she's not hugging him anymore, and
Right.
it's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
but it is weird. The whole anniversary thing was just weird.
Yeah. I mean, it has been a year since that clip or that segment rather, where Triple H takes knocked out Stephanie and gets married to her. So, I mean, they got that right. And then, with that said, she was supposed to marry Test, so Test is going to come in also. So at first it's Trish, and then Test is looking for Trish, and walks into their office, and Test starts to talk shit about how she helped him make the best decision in his life to not marry her. And Trish actually hits on Triple H, saying, "Oh, I'd be celebrating too." Basically, like, "Oh, if I had Triple H, I'd be celebrating."
Yeah, I'd be fucking you, Triple H. Is basically what she's saying.
Right. And Triple H is like all smirking and like, "Yeah, cool, that's right." And then Stephanie slaps him in the arm, like, "Hey, what the fuck?" So that was kind of funny. Rikishi comes to visit. Says, "This is going to be every man for himself, but, what we should do is team up. And then we'll find out who the champ is." So Rikishi, it's funny just to even have the thought that Rikishi thinks that he can be the last man standing with Triple H after they take down everybody else. The Undertaker, The Rock, Stone Cold. It's going to come down to Triple H and Rikishi. Get the fuck out of here. But that's what they have. They have their alliance going. And that's what they point out here. Eventually, a cake arrives. Special cake. Triple H is afraid of who it is. And it ends up being the chef. The chef that looked like Stone Cold Steve Austin. The bald, goatee chef from a few weeks back with when the Radicals were bitching about all their food orders. They had this chef that looked like Austin come in, and then in the next segment, it actually was Austin. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago on the Radicals episode we did. So you got the same guy coming in, so that freaks out Triple H, and he delivers this cake. And now he's a baker. He was a chef, but now he's a baker. I guess you could be a chef and a baker. Steph says that's the top of their wedding cake, but really it's just like a fucking cheap Walmart cake with a little fucking.
Hey, I like Walmart cake.
No, not saying anything bad about it, but it is what it is. It's just a fucking Walmart cake. it's not.
Yeah, you're thinking with their money, they'd have like some nice like high-end bakery.
Right, they could have had an actual baker make something nice for the show. No, they just grabbed a cake from Walmart and brought it in. So you have that. Triple H is so paranoid. He's going to shut the lights off at one point. And Harvey's like all worked up, like, "Oh, you got a visitor, and Triple H thinks it's Austin at this point. So he shuts the lights off. He's ready to attack whoever it is, and he thinks it's Austin. So the guy walks in. You can't see who it is. Triple H starts fighting with the guy. And then you see Harvey listening at the door. And
Harvey
then,
Whippleman.
yeah.
How about how quickly we just breeze by the fact that he's even on this fucking show?
Right, I know. Well,
And
I know
that's
he
who
worked
that's
backstage.
who Triple H picks to protect him from like the best of the best in the WWF. Hey,
Yeah,
Harvey, stand at the fucking door, and he sucks at his job.
right, he
He's
lets
so
everybody in.
Everybody gets in.
Harvey has a few funny moments too. I just didn't take note of them, but if you go back and watch these segments, there's a couple of lines that are pretty funny from Harvey. Something to the effect of, "Did you knock?" Like Triple H is asking, "Did you knock?" And Harvey's like nonchalant, like, "No." Like, it's pretty funny. So he is the shits in a way because it's fucking Harvey Whippleman, little nerdy, goofy dude. But yeah, we kind of just breezed over that.
Yeah, it's funny because like what 10, not even 10, 7 years earlier, he's just like he's actually has like a
He's a manager.
presence. Yeah, he has
Yeah.
like a presence on the actual show.
Right, he's the manager of Sid. He's
He's
Dr. Harvey Whippleman. He has a feud with the Fink.
so at this point he's basically just like a WW employee. He's doing like
Right, he's backstage worker.
yeah.
Right,
Good
he's like a producer.
Yeah, good job to have. I mean, beats working a fucking regular 9 to 5, like going from where he was to imagine if he had nowhere else to go in wrestling. It's like,
Yeah.
well, they kept him in the company,
they kept him
so
around.
he must be a good guy.
Yeah. So you have Harvey listening at the door, so he's trying to hear what's going on in there. And you just hear the big brawl, the throwing shit around, basically. And then Austin appears behind Harvey, so it's like, oh shit, Austin's not in there. Who the fuck is Triple H fighting with? And Austin's laughing. He pushes Harvey out of the way. And it's just great because the whole night that Triple H is worked up, Austin's just fucking with him. It's like, you got him all paranoid, and now he's fighting somebody that's not even him. So good mind games on the part of Austin here. And then Austin is actually going to enter the room and send a little message to him. So take a listen to it. It's pretty brief, but it's funny. So take a listen.
Put a light on the subject. Happy anniversary, jackass.
Oh my god! Oh my god, he's bleeding really badly!
Vince. Austin!
Oh, Dad, stay still! Don't try to go anywhere, Dad!
Vince, are you alright?
No, he's not alright! Dad, lay down, lay down!
I beat the hell out of him.
Oh, Dad, stay down!
All right, so there you had it. Austin turns in. He walks in the room. He turns on the lights. Says, "Happy anniversary, jackass!" It just sounds so great. It's just perfect, and fitting, and you have Triple H look up like, "What the fuck?" And then he moves the table that's covering the guy he beat up, and it's fucking Vince McMahon all bloodied up. It's just awesome because Vince hasn't really been around for a while. He came back and he cut the fucking Election Day promo a few weeks back, and now you have him back here all busted open, pissed off. Well, he's gonna be pissed off, but it's his return basically. And Austin set him up, so that's great. Austin fucking used McMahon to fuck with Triple H. So good shit all around there. And that brings us to Raw 393 from December 4th in East Rutherford, New Jersey, the Meadowlands. This is live, and we're going to start off with fucking a classic promo that you've all heard. You're going to hear it again now as they build to Armageddon. The Rock is going to do some impersonations. But first, he's going to call Kevin Kelly a hermaphrodite, as he likes to do often.
That's painful.
Yeah. Kevin Kelly sucks.
Yeah, hard-hitting Kevin Kelly.
Hard-hitting, yeah. Always asking the hard-hitting questions. So at first, with this promo, it starts off as a typical promo, saying, The Rock saying his normal bullshit. But then he really switches it up when he starts to make fun of everybody. So I'll take a listen to that, and then we'll go over all the little jokes he made.
Rock, we are less than a week away from one of the biggest challenges of your career, competing for the WWF title in a match you've never competed in before. A Hell in a Cell match where you and 5 other men
Finally, The Rock has come back to New Jersey. Just as sure as for the very first time, Kevin Kelly, The Rock, stood right in this arena and called you an ugly hermaphrodite, is as sure as this Sunday night at Armageddon, The Rock will be in hell in a cell. This is going to be the most brutal match The Rock has ever been in. The dangerousest match The Rock has ever been in. The Hell in a Cell. And it doesn't matter, Kevin Kelly, what you call it. Whether it's called a Hell in a Cell, a Rage in a Cage, Penis in Uranus, the only thing that matters is that The Rock is going in this Sunday night to do exactly what he does best, lay it to smack it down, and get back The Rock's WWF title. And the fact of the matter is this, is that The Rock knows this Sunday night he has his work cut out for him. The Rock knows he's got 5 other guys he's got to compete with. And even if The Rock has got to beat Kurt Angle, which means I'm going to drink a big glass of milk, eat some chocolate chip cookies, and then maybe I'll take 3 Viagra. Or maybe The Rock is going to face Rikishi, beat Rikishi. I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. I did it. Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty. Or maybe even The Rock has got to beat The Undertaker, the American badass. Beat him so bad that one more time he'll raise up. Rest in peace. Or maybe The Rock has got to beat Triple H himself, which means he's got to beat the game in the middle of the ring. And he has a $2 slut for a wife.
Oh, my. I can't believe he's saying this. Stephanie is not a... And there's one left.
Or maybe The Rock has got to beat Stone Cold Steve Austin, which means I gotta get in my pickup truck, drink some Steve Weisers, listen to some Backstreet Boys.
What? Backstreet Boys?
And that's the bottom line, because the great one said so.
Backstreet Boys? Oh, Bridge Boys, maybe, but it's going to be every man for himself Sunday on pay-per-view.
And one more thing. This Sunday night at Armageddon, The Rock is going to do all he can to win the WWF title. If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Well, as you can see, as you can hear, it's going to be every man for himself. The first time in history, 6 men inside Hell in the Cell. Oh, what a pay-per-view.
Damn!
All right, so there you have it. classic promo. JV, you said you've heard this so many damn times. It's something
Yeah,
that
it's one of those. It's one of those promos, like, when you follow wrestling pages on Twitter, any part of social media, Facebook. This video
always
is
shows
always
up.
like embedded, like it shows up a couple times a year.
Right. It's great, and it should. But to see it all as one too, because sometimes you see the clips and it's just like part of it.
Right, you're right.
You know, here it all is, and he starts with Kurt Angle, and now I'm gonna drink a big glass of milk, and I'm gonna eat a chocolate cookie. Maybe I'll take 3 Viagra. I think the highlight though is this one. It's the Rikishi one. I did it for the Rock.
Oh yeah,
I did it with the people.
It's almost more infamous than when Rikishi said he did it for The Rock. The Rock's impersonation.
Right, which kind of brings it like full circle because it was such a shitty angle. And now The Rock is making fun of that angle and making fun of Rikishi having to say that.
Sometimes life just comes full circle, man.
And I think when people bring that up, I did it for The Rock, I did it for the people, the impersonation of it, they're more doing a Rock impersonation of Rikishi than actually making fun of Rikishi saying it. Because people have heard this promo so often that they're just copying how The Rock says it. Because
yeah, that's true.
Rikishi doesn't exactly say it like that.
No, he doesn't say it like that at all.
Right.
Like, I don't know, when I say it, I did it for The Rock. That's how I say it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Say it
And that's
like
how The
Rock
does
did. Yeah. Or even back, a couple episodes ago when we did that, when we covered that, when our episode was called, I did it for The Rock. When I said the line, I was doing The Rock without even thinking of it. And he doesn't spend much time on The Undertaker. He just says, rest in peace. I was hoping he would say, die, die, die again. You should have just went right back to that and said it. Die, die, die. And then he makes fun of Triple H. This is really good. He goes, I'm the gamer. Which I love because everyone thinks that. And I don't think we all just learned it from The Rock. But The Rock picked up on it and made fun of it. The gamer. The ringer. Holly Racer.
It's like a shown off ripoff.
Yeah, it's funny. Shown off. But he goes on, he said, the gamer, and I will beat him in the ringer. And he has a $2 slut for a wife. That was the best part. That little last dig, the wife. I wasn't impressed with his Austin. It was funny, but I wish he would have done more.
It's almost like he did it out of respect.
Yeah.
Like, because he'll come back with something fierce,
Right. Also,
don't poke the bear.
Right, exactly. So all he does with that is he puts on the camo hat. He goes, Stone Cold Steve Austin, which means I got to get in my pickup truck, drink some Steve Wises, listen to some Backstreet Boys. I love how random the Backstreet Boys comment is, too.
Yeah, it doesn't really fit here.
No,
but it works.
But it's funny because it's just like, what does he even mean? Austin ain't listen to the Backstreet Boys, but it's a way of making fun of him. Like, yeah, you act like you're a badass, but we know you're in your truck fucking listening to the Backstreet Boys. You're not listening to AC/DC. You're not that badass. So good little line there. And The Rock then goes back into his own character. Says, this Sunday night, The Rock will do all he can to win the WWF title. So, awesome fucking promo there. So, definitely worth listening to as we played for you. And even better to go back and watch because the video is pretty damn good too. And then from there, we move on to another audio clip for you. And this is going to be McMahon and Austin meeting backstage. So, take a listen to that. We'll be right back.
Uh-oh. Oh, my gosh.
You want me to shake your hand? All right. I'll cut to the chase. Maybe I don't give a damn personally, but professionally from an investment standpoint, I do.
I don't like you in Hell in the Cell. I don't like a lot of these guys in the Hell in the Cell match. It's a lousy investment, you going in there. I want to protect my investment, all right? And if you go through with this Hell in the Cell match, it's your first one, but it could damn well be your last one.
Well, all right, so you have Austin McMahon staring each other down. Austin's like, you want me to shake your hand? McMahon basically tells him that he wants to protect his investments in this Hell in a Cell match. So that's the big angle with McMahon, is that he doesn't want this match to happen. He wants his top stars not to be injured, like Mick Foley is out of action now because of a Hell in a Cell match. So he doesn't want this to go on, and he's not happy that Mick Foley made this match. So that's McMahon's big
pissed.
Yeah.
He's not happy. Why can't he fire Mick Foley? Like, what am I forgetting here? Because
that's what I was
Linda
thinking too.
appointed him, right?
Right, yeah. So I guess, yeah, she appointed him, so she has some kind of control. So he can't just override what she says because they have not, I guess it's equal control of the company, right? So it's her, Vince, Stephanie with Triple H, and then Shane has some. And Shane's not around at this point, but that's what they had set up months back, is that the four of them were sharing power. So yeah, I guess that's why he can't just easily fire Mick. So we'll see where that goes, because it does seem like Mick's about to be fired. Like, it's going to be coming. So anyway, McMahon is not happy about that. He tells Austin, that this may be his first Hell in a Cell, and it could be a last one. And that's not true. It's not true, because Austin did have a Hell in a Cell match. He had actually the second Hell in a Cell match, and it's forgotten, but we talked about it here on the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. We talked about it way back on episode 27, and that Hell in a Cell match took place on Raw 264 from June 15th, 1998, so over 2 years ago, and Austin teamed up with The Undertaker to go up against Kane and Mankind, and that's that Hell in a Cell match where Austin took the bloodbath at the end.
Oh, yeah. That was fucking cool.
Yeah. So it's not his first one coming up. But Vince is right, though. It will be his last one, because Austin will never be in a Hell in a Cell match again after this. So he's in that one Raw one. Then here at Armageddon, he's in another one. So it's the only Hell in a Cell on pay-per-view that Austin was on. A little tidbit there. So anyway, Vince McMahon, throughout the night, he's going to meet up with all the other wrestlers that are involved in this match. Triple H, The Rock, Undertaker. And he's going to try to talk them out of being in this match, but they all got title shots, so they're not really in agreement with that. So Triple H is the first one that he meets with. Vince tells Triple H that he doesn't want Steph in harm's way. Vince doesn't know whether he should rip off Triple H's head or have a conversation with him, because he got fucked up by him on SmackDown in that backstage wedding anniversary segment. Triple H says he tried to send him a message. He tried to get in touch with him, but Vince ignored him. Triple H insists that he thought it was Austin that he was beating up, and Vince says, Triple H, do you remember what happened last year at Armageddon? And I don't remember what happened at last year's Armageddon, because we didn't watch it. So,
we skipped it.
We skipped it because Austin wasn't around. So I don't know exactly what happened. I forgot. So Vince leaves, and then Triple H says, "Yeah, I'll never forget. And don't worry, I'll make it up to you." With that said, I gotta fucking look it up. So let me just quickly look that up. Armageddon 1999 must have been the main event match. So let's see what happened there. For those of you wondering, I can't leave you hanging. Or if you already know, I don't want to sound like a dumbass that doesn't know either. All right, so At Armageddon in 1999, Triple H defeated Mr. McMahon in a no-holds-barred match. Well, Triple H won. He became the number one contender for the championship. If McMahon won, Triple H and Stephanie would have had to receive an annulment. So that's, I guess, what they had going on.
And, for the record, we're not historians. We're podcasters.
Right.
So we're not going to get all of our fucking facts straight. I know I'm not. I know a good amount. Prue knows a lot more than us, but we're not perfect.
Right. Yeah, so we got to look things up.
Are we counting on you? Which our listeners do a great job, and I like that.
Yeah.
That they'll share information with us, which is awesome.
Yeah, we encourage that too. So yeah, last year they had their encounter and a brutal match or whatnot. So it's cool that they brought it up though. A year later, oh yeah, this is something,
2000 was a good year of using callbacks from 99 and 98.
Right, because early in the 90s they never would do that. But they're starting to connect history from one year to the next. Whereas in the past, very rare that they would acknowledge anything that happened, maybe even 4 months before. So that's a Triple H meeting he has. Then he meets up with The Rock. He says that The Rock is the most intelligent wrestler in the WWF. McMahon says he has more to lose than anyone else because he has a bright future. And The Rock tells McMahon that he appreciates his concern for him, but he's gonna take the match. He wants his title shot. And then he meets up with the Undertaker. Vince meets up with the Undertaker. McMahon sits on the Undertaker's bike, which that's a big no. That's crazy. Which is funny visual though, because you could see the Undertaker. What the fuck you doing on this bike? Undertaker tells McMahon to get off his ride. Vince tries to convince Undertaker not to compete in the Hell in a Cell. And Undertaker spits tobacco on McMahon's suit.
So disrespectful.
And McMahon will continue to wear that suit going into the promo that he's about to cut, which is the state of the WWF. And what basically going to happen here, I'm not going to run through every little thing here, but essentially what happens is McMahon's going to get his ass kicked. And we're going to go to a clip. Austin's going to arrive. So take a listen to that. And then we'll be right back.
I'm touched by the fact that you're concerned about my well-being. So I'm sure that, in turn, you can appreciate the fact that I'm concerned about your well-being.
No! Oh, the stunner! Off to the stun, Mr. McMahon! Why'd he do that? What for? Stone Cold Steve Austin came to this very ring and just stunned the hell out of Mr. McMahon! I can't believe this! That's all he came down here for? To stun Mr. McMahon? What?
It's coming.
Well, now, wait a minute. It's The Rock. Another man in the Hell in a Cell. And yes, you'll see The Rock and Austin get it on against each other inside the Hell in a Cell on Sunday on pay-per-view. I can't believe they just passed each other without getting the smash laid down. But why is The Rock coming out here? He's got one shred of decency in him. He'll help Mr. McMahon.
All right, so Austin comes out there. He has a new shirt alert, and these fucking shirts are coming out so damn often.
I forgot how frequently they were coming out.
It's crazy.
Close to each other.
Like
especially around the
2
holidays
weeks.
lately. Yeah, the last few episodes we've covered, I think there's been a new shirt every episode.
Right. And they're running out of ideas because these shirts suck.
Yeah, they're not their best work. That's why I've always been a big fan of the original.
Yeah, plain shirts. There's too much graphics.
I hate when they look like shitty concert t-shirts.
Right. That's kind of what this is. There's a lot of animation. I don't know how to it's not animation obviously, but it's more artwork it's like cartoonish, really. We have these fucking, in this shirt in particular, it's 3 beer cans. So the last shirt had 3 skulls. This one has 3 beer cans. And it says, official member of Stone Cold Beer Drinker and Hellraiser Association. What the fuck? That's almost
Stupid.
worse.
It's like a Knights of Columbus version of a fucking Stone Cold t-shirt.
We're all members of the Stone Cold Beer Drinker and Hellraiser Association. Give me a hell yeah. So the shirt has the fucking 3 cans. Man. Now, they always talk about Austin having the #1 sales for t-shirts. It's like, I guess that makes sense because how many fucking different shirts were made? So it's easy to look back and look at the t-shirt sales and be like, oh, Austin sold the most t-shirts. Well, yeah, great. But they try to pawn it off as like it was the Austin 316 shirt that had the greatest sales of all time. But it's the combination of all his shirts that sold that gets him that record.
I've never looked into it, but that I kind of figured that was it.
Right. Whereas with Hogan, he had like maybe 4 or 5 different shirts throughout all those years where he was the #1 t-shirt seller. So Hogan did it with huge amounts with less shirts. Whereas Austin's getting a new shirt like every month. And they just keep selling them. I mean, even today, or just recent history, John Cena. He's selling a whole lot of shirts because he had a new shirt every fucking
he did.
month, too.
I owned a lot of John Cena shirts.
Yeah, I know. I have like fucking 4 different ones. And they would
Some of them suck. Most of them suck.
Yeah, I have one. It's like a John Deere shirt. It's like the John Deere logo, basically, but it's a John Cena shirt. And he was doing that a lot. The cool one was the Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. The style.
I like the 8-bit one, the retro one.
Oh, yeah.
And I like
That one was good.
Rise Above Hate, the one he started wearing right before WrestleMania 28, and then at WrestleMania 28 they debuted the shitty green one, which I bought because I was there.
Yep.
And it felt like the right thing to do.
Well, you got the whole outfit when you went, too. You got the fucking headband, right?
Hell yeah. I was all fucking geeked
And the wristband.
Yeah.
Hey, when you go down to Florida, you're going to represent Massachusetts. Yeah. At WrestleMania.
Yeah, I was rooting for Cena, too. Not everyone else there was. Most of the crowd was very rock heavy because it was in Miami, so...
Right, exactly. All right, so from there, the promo continues, this state of the WWF, and McMahon's going to get his ass kicked. Austin gives him the stunner, and that was cool. That after all these months, time's gone by, we're back to Austin, McMahon. McMahon gets stunned at the 1 hour, 29-minute mark. Austin calls for his beers. He walks off, but then The Rock stares down Austin, so that was cool. Give us a little preview of what's to come. Just months away at this point. And we don't really know that yet, but that's what they want the crowd to get excited for. And then Austin walks off. The Rock is going to nail McMahon with a rock bottom. Undertaker comes down to the ring. He goes face to face with The Rock. But then Taker hits the last ride on McMahon. McMahon's taking the rock bottom. He's taking the last ride. He's taking a stunner. Holy shit, this guy's a sport. You know, he'll do anything to help put these guys over.
Yeah, and not that it takes anything away from the last ride from the Taker, but Taker does put him down pretty gently.
He does. That's true.
But, you know what? He should, because that's his boss. It's got fucking paying him millions.
Yeah.
Like, he's taking the move. You're not trying to, like, fuck. He's not a guy you hate backstage or something. Like.
And at this point, I don't know how comfortable Taker is with the last ride, because he kind of, the first time he tried it, when he came back, he almost botched it.
That's a good point.
It's only been a few times he's used it. So he's like, all right, I got to be extra careful with the boss. Don't want to fucking...
You gotta respect McMahon. He's like, all right, I'm gonna be back on TV. I'm gonna be an active personality again. It's like him showing the backstage, like, hey, because he's big on, what is it? He wouldn't do anything that he wouldn't make his talents do.
Right.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see it in this, which I love. It's like we're getting the Vince McMahon character back, which he hasn't really been. We've showed signs of it, but now he's like, he's turning full-fledged, heel McMahon again.
Right. Right. This is what needs to happen because they don't really have heels at this point. There's a lot of people that are over as baby faces.
Yes.
So it's a good time for McMahon to come back and be a heel. Because Rikishi's the heel. Triple H was a babyface, but they had to switch him heel.
Kurt Angle's kind of like the main heel right now.
Right. But even people like him now, too.
Yeah. It's because it's hard not to like him.
Right. So, yeah, Vince is very much needed at this point to be an asshole. And they're all fucking him up. So it works out perfect. Then Mick even comes down. He talks trash to Vince while he's down. Mick pulls out Mr. Sacco. And he says, "Kiss my fat ass, Vince. Have a nice day." Because Vince had called Nick a fat ass earlier. And then we have backstage, real quickly, is Triple H, Kurt Angle, Rikishi. They attack Undertaker, The Rock, and Stone Cold as the show comes to a close. So, great ending for Raw to lead up to the pay-per-view, to Armageddon. So, all these guys are just, intertwined, fucking with each other. And setting up for a great Hell in a Cell match. First time that 6 people will be in a Hell in a Cell at the same time. So, pretty exciting ending there. All right, from there we go to SmackDown 68 from December 7th, 2000. It was taped on December 5th. And it's from New York City at Madison Square Garden. So, big show, big place right before going to the pay-per-view. So, during the opening, it's backstage. Kurt Angle, Triple H, Rikishi, the 3 Musketeers, as they're calling themselves, arrive together in a limo. Mick Foley says, you guys are going to get the night off because you're suspended. Mick tells them to leave the arena. Kurt Angle is like, okay, cool. Mick stops Kurt Angle and says, no, you're not off. You're going to defend your title tonight in a fatal 4-way match against The Rock, Stone Cold, and The Undertaker. That's fucking crazy. Just days before a Hell in a Cell match, there's going to be this title match, a fatal 4-way, with all these big stars. But they had to do it for Madison Square Garden. Makes sense. Big show.
Yeah, that's that's
Mecca, their home base.
Yeah. So a lot of history was made.
Yep. All right, then we get a promo. Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to come on out. And let's take a listen to what he has to say, and we'll talk about it after that.
A trip in a Russian submarine? He must hate Kurt Angle.
Everywhere I've gone, everybody keeps asking me, Stone Cold Steve Austin, are you ready for the Hell in a Cell match this Sunday? And I gotta say, oh, hell yeah!
Uh-oh. He's ready!
But I gotta say, The Rock paints a little bit different picture than the one I envision this Sunday. Because, Rock, as politely as I can, I'm gonna remind you exactly who's in that match so that you don't take anybody in there too lightly. Kurt Angle might come out here, drink milk and eat cookies, but that went to the Olympics in '96, won a gold medal, and while that might not mean a whole lot to you, he's also the same that took your WWF title from you, and you ain't got it back yet.
That's right. Good point. Woo-hoo, man.
You talk about Rikishi having a big fat ass. That might be true, but if Rikishi don't roll into Birmingham, Alabama at Armageddon, willing to do whatever it takes, and I do mean whatever it takes to be the World Wrestling Federation champion, he might as well not even show up.
That's true, too.
You come out here and you're taking Triple H lightly. I don't think I have to remind anybody he's just put me out of this business for a year. I ain't forgiving him for that. And he's also the same that has dominated the World Wrestling Federation for the past year. So don't take him too lightly.
He's true on that point, too, King. He's fired up.
You want to come out here and talk about The Undertaker, the American badass. And all I got to say, a decade of destruction, that pretty well sums it all. because that man has been riding up and down these highways, chasing world championships, kicking ass. And if you don't think for one split second that man ain't gonna roll into Armageddon, one to be the World Wrestling Federation champion once again, I'll kiss your ass right in the middle of this ring. Every single Hell in a Cell match I've seen has been a bloodbath. Undertaker has survived 3 of those. You got a Shawn Michaels and you got a Mick Foley, who ain't no longer with us because the Hell in a Cell probably was a big part of their demise.
Huge part.
Good point.
When that door closes on that cell at Armageddon, that bell rings. Stone Cold Steve Austin is willing to suffer, bleed, suffer, and bleed some more, just like every other in that ring, to be the World Wrestling Federation champion, because I've always said, if you ain't in the World Wrestling Federation to be the champion, you got no business being here, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said.
All right, so Stone Cold is going to make his way out there. At this point, I started to notice that in the graphics for some of the top stars like Stone Cold, The Rock, underneath their name would be the graphic for their web page. So it'll be stonecold.com, therock.com. So they're starting to promote that.
Starting to get on the interwebs. Stop promoting.
Yeah.
They've always been a step ahead of the game as far as like technology, like Twitter.
Right.
They were always about hashtagging, and I'm not sure they are so much now, but
Yeah, they still do
They
it.
always push technology.
Yep.
Other media outlets.
Yep.
Forms of media outlets.
Right, yeah. So when I saw that, I had to check it out, right? StoneCold.com. So if you type it in today, StoneCold.com brings you to Stone Cold's bio from WWE.com and different clips and shit. So they own those domain
up.
right?
Yeah.
They got those domain names. And with The Rock, for instance, if you go to therock.com, it'll just direct you right to WWE.com. So a lot of the ones that they have will all just bring you to WWE.com to this day. So it's funny that they own the names, those domains, and just redirect. But it was funny that Austin actually brings you to the Austin page, though. Stone Cold.
Yeah, right. So I wonder if there's some like historical relevance for them because of that. Like,
Maybe
was
it's
that the
just
first
that
one they promoted? It's the first one that we've really noticed.
This is the first time that they're showing those. But like I said, with The Rock, it just brings you to WWE.com. So I wonder if it's because Austin's still kind of relevant with them because he does the Broken Skull Session show on the network.
That's true.
And The Rock doesn't do anything for them right now.
He's not an active wrestler, but he still does. He still gets paid by them. Contracted work, whatever you want to call it, under the WWE logo.
Right, Austin. Yeah. Yep. So that must be the case with that. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. So Stone Cold gets out there. He says he's ready for the Hell in a Cell match. Then Austin's going to respond to The Rock's parody promo. Of course he has to respond. So he goes on to say, Kurt Angle may drink milk and eat cookies, but he won a gold medal in 1996, and he's the same son of a bitch that took the title from you. So you're talking shit about Kurt Angle, Rock, but The Rock, Angle beat you, buddy. Angle took your title. Then Austin says Rikishi will do whatever it takes to win a match. He hit me with a car. He's willing to do anything. Austin says that the Undertaker is on a decade of destruction, riding up and down these highways, chasing world championships for the last 10 years, kicking ass all the while. Austin says he'll kick The Rock's ass. That the Undertaker will kick The Rock's ass. And that's what he's there to go into Hell in a Cell to do. Says every Hell in a Cell has been a bloodbath. And just mentioned a few minutes back, literally, Austin had a bloodbath in the Hell in a Cell match that he was in when he got that blood dripped all over him by Kane. And he says that Undertaker survived 3 matches. Shawn Michaels and Mankind, they're both gone now. So he does point out that Undertaker has had 3. He survived the 3. He had the first one with Shawn Michaels. He had the one with Mankind. But he doesn't mention who he had the third one with. Which is funny. And it was Big Boss Man. So he just leaves Big Boss Man out. Yep. And another thing that's funny too is that Undertaker didn't win the match against Shawn Michaels either. Because Kane came in and fucked him up. And then Shawn Michaels got the win. Yeah, so he's a little off there. So Austin references the match there. And Undertaker survived so many of these, even though he didn't actually win all of them. And then Austin gives his line that he always likes to say, if you ain't in the WWF to be the champion, then you got no business being here. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. And then Angle's music hits. I thought it was a great promo by Austin, because he's pumping everybody else up. He's making everybody else look like a threat. Instead of going out there saying, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna kick your ass. You suck.
You're
you
a
suck."
scrub.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you want these guys to look like stars.
Yep.
So he's helping promote the match big time. So this is like exactly what a promo is supposed to be. You're promoting.
That's why
the
they have
match.
him back, to make money.
Right.
So him doing these things, helps him out.
Exactly. So good shit there. And then the promo continues with Kurt Angle coming out. Austin's going to grab his cooler of beers. And this is fucking hilarious. You guys got to listen to it, and then we'll talk about it. But this was hilarious. I forgot about this, and when I was watching it, taking the notes, like, oh my God, that's great. All right, so take a listen, and we'll talk about it in a moment.
Steve, I know that we haven't always seen eye to eye. But in this case, I couldn't agree with you more. No one realizes the sheer horror.
Austin just chucked a beer can at the champion.
What the heck are you doing?
Leopold's fired up. You put an eye out with that.
As I was saying, no one realizes the sheer horror of the Hell in a Cell more than I do. And for The Rock to make fun of you and me.
Hey, look at this. Austin's taking target practice, and Angle's the target. Austin must really hate Angle to be throwing good beer at him.
Hold on a second. To say that I like milk and cookies and you like the Backstreet Boys?
Oh, Leo! Oh, that was a strike. I think he should be signed
Hold
up
on
as
a
a
second.
quarterback for XFL.
First of all, I don't even like sweets. And as far as the Backstreet Boys,
Look out! I wouldn't mention Backstreet Boys again.
what is wrong with you?
No! Oh, man! How many beers has he got in there? A case? The crowd coming alive in the garden.
If you throw another...
Don't encourage him! Oh!
Forget it, Austin.
I got plenty more beer. Keep running your damn mouth.
Are you done?
I don't think so. I don't think he's done either, King. Look out, Stone Cold moving closer. Stone Cold, Steve Austin. Look out, King. Tonight, Austin's gonna get his hands on Angle inside the ring. A fatal four-way matchup with Angle's WWF title on the line. This rattlesnake is riled up. He's throwing perfectly good beer at Kurt Angle. He really hates him. Austin's frustrated, pacing like a caged animal. He can't wait to get to Angle tonight.
All right, so Kurt Angle heads out there. He stands at the top of the ramp, and he starts to talk. And then Austin just starts to take beers out of his cooler and fucking chucks them. He chucks them up the ramp, from the ring, all the way up the ramp at Angle. Angle has to fucking dodge these beers that are being thrown at him. Angle's yelling, "What the heck are you doing?" And then Austin throws another one. He goes, "Hold on, to say I like milk and cookies, you like the Backstreet Boys." Then Austin chucks another beer at him. Now, first of all, I don't even like sweets. and the Backstreet Boys. Austin throws another fucking can. What is wrong with you? He yells. Then the crowd's chanting for Austin. And Angle goes, if you throw another one. And then another fucking can comes flying. And he goes, okay, forget it, Austin. And then Angle runs off. Stone Cold takes the mic. He says, I got plenty more beer. Keep running your damn mouth. Angle says, are you done? And then that pisses off Austin even more. Austin gets out of the ring. He starts to run up the ramp. He chucks another beer, and it freaking breaks the monitor in the entryway. The little oval, back. It's not the big screen. It's the one that's just behind the entryway. Austin chucks the beer and it smashes that. So,
I didn't remember this scene, so I was cracking up watching this. Like, he's fucking whipping beer cans at him. That hurts if you get hit with a beer can, especially from that far away. It's got to be coming with some velocity to it.
And how could, it's probably tough for Angle to actually see them coming, too.
Yeah, that too, with all the lighting and shit. Yeah.
Right. So he did a good job avoiding that. I guess that's kind of what makes him an Olympian. Avoiding the beer cans. All right, so anyway, move on from there. Vince McMahon's going to come out. He's going to talk about how he got his ass kicked by everybody, by The Undertaker, by Austin, by The Rock. And McMahon comes out in a motorized wheelchair and in a cane also in his hand. And when I first saw him come out like that, all I was thinking was, yes, this is true Vince McMahon heel. This is like old Hollywood heel. We've talked about it before when he did this prior, or even when Bret Hart did it too in the wheelchair. Being an asshole in a wheelchair, there's nothing more heelish. There's nothing better than that, because you're supposed to be kind of sympathetic for the person, or it's like they want sympathy, but they're still big assholes. You're like, fuck off. Just like in It's a Wonderful Life, Mr. Potter, the rich asshole. He's in a wheelchair. He's an old guy, but fuck him, because he's an asshole still. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's a fucking douchebag.
Right. I don't care how old or crippled you may be. When you're an asshole, it doesn't matter. And it makes you hate him even more, because they're looking for sympathy. So Vince is out there in his wheelchair. He gets into the ring, though. He motorizes his ass down to the ring and then gets out with his cane and gets in there. So he's selling his injuries from Raw. So Vince says he can't believe he would ever experience the humiliation that he did last Monday night. Vince said Monday was supposed to be a great night because he was going to give the state of the WWF address. But Austin abused him with a stunner, and The Rock gave him a rock bottom. The Undertaker took him for his last ride. He yells, he took me on the last ride. He said, that's not supposed to happen to a man like me. I'm Vince McMahon. Hell, I'm a billionaire. I can buy and sell every damn one of you in this building. I'm the chairman of the WWF. A man like me should be respected by people like you. So McMahon is like full-blown back into Mr. McMahon heel mode at this point. As we just discussed moments ago, it was really needed at this point for McMahon to bring this character back. He probably saw what was going on and be like, this shit sucks. I need to come back.
Yeah, like you said, there's no true heel. And Vince is the best heel of all time. Right. He's back.
Yep.
And it's crazy how he transforms to it. That's why I've said, he should have got an Emmy or something. Because he's really I know it's him. People say it's him, but it's a very exaggerated version of him. But this facial expressions, everything just back. It's like he never left.
Right. It's awesome.
Even though he hasn't left, you know what I mean? This character, he's
right.
He's back to the on air heel. You have no chance in hell, fucking Vince.
Right. And even for a while before, when he was on, he was not the true Mr. McMahon asshole character. Since early in '99, ever since Austin became the CEO. After all that, that's when Mr. McMahon kind of faded off, basically. After SummerSlam of '99, and then you have McMahon just being a normal Vince McMahon, caring about his family, caring about Stephanie, and all that shit. But now he's back to being an asshole. So it's great. So McMahon says he was violated. This will never happen again. I can guarantee it will never happen again. So back to those guarantees. When McMahon says it's a guarantee, you got to bank on it. So McMahon says it's only happening because of Mick Foley. Mick Foley's encouraging all this to happen, this Hell in a Cell match. So Vince wants to do whatever he can to stop this match from happening. Mick Foley comes out at that point. Mick Foley's rip shit. Vince calls him a fat ass. It says he's going to kick his ass in front of everybody in Madison Square Garden. I love Mick Foley's response because he just laughs at him. Like, yeah, fuck off. I don't think so. And then Mick calls out Linda McMahon. So she comes out to the shitty ass WrestleMania music. WrestleMania. Pump it up. That 1994. Or was it maybe 93 to 94? They used it for a few years at that point. That shit sucked. So anyways, that's Linda McMahon's entrance music, apparently. So Linda says Mick is the most popular commission in WWF history. Mick points out that when he comes down the ramp, they chant Foley. And when Vince comes out, they chant asshole.
Asshole.
Nice little line there. Just to work
that might
that
as
in.
well be his name. No,
yeah.
Asshole.
So Mick says if anyone is seriously injured in the Hell in a Cell match, he will resign from being commish. So major stipulation made here. If anyone is seriously injured, he's out. So Mick says there will be a day when he kicks Vince's ass all over the arena. We'll see if that ever happens. So Mick leaves at that point. And then we have a fucking mental breakdown. And it's fucking classic. It's Vince McMahon freaking out on his wife.
So good. So good.
So when you talk about an Emmy, this is fucking Emmy-worthy shit right here. On his part, not on Linda's part. Linda still sucks. Even though she didn't even say a word, but...
No.
Fucking...
You're right. She doesn't say anything, right?
No. Although, actually, she tries to say something, and then Vince yells, "Shut up!" All right, so it's so classic, you gotta hear it. So take a listen to McMahon, have a breakdown, flip out, and become fully Mr. McMahon again. He needed to do this. Take a listen.
I can't get it. I mean, I've been doing this over 20 years. I think I got pretty good instincts. But I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning thinking about how the Hell in a Cell ended Mick Foley's career. I woke up this morning at 4 o'clock thinking about how the Hell in a Cell damn sure shortened Shawn Michaels' career. How in God's name, Steve, can you prepare for something like this tonight?
I don't think you can prepare for something like this, really, because, hell, I didn't even sleep last night. You woke up before, I didn't even sleep. I've been drinking coffee all day. I just want to get the damn match started, and I think we'll just let everything fall as it may. You talk about a Mick Foley and a Shawn Michaels, how it shortened one man's career and it ended the other. Well, you can take all that tonight and multiply it times 6, because it ain't going to be nothing pretty. It's going to be flat-out brutality.
I know that the man that orchestrated the plan to put you out of business, and he damn near did it, is in this match, talking about Triple H, and the man that drove the car, ran over you like a roadkill, Rikishi, in this matchup. Is that a distraction or more motivation?
You're damn right, it's motivation all the way. But I can't, and by the same token, I can't be distracted by trying to extract too much revenge out of those guys, because the ultimate prize is the World Wrestling Federation Championship, and that's what I'm setting my sights on. And are they going to get their ass whipped by Stone Cold? Damn right they are. But I'm looking for the World Wrestling Federation Championship belt, and I think everybody in that ring is. And I don't trust a sumbitch there. And if someone in there trusts Stone Cold Steve Austin, they're barking up the wrong tree. And I can sit here and talk to you as much as you want to, but the bottom line is Stone Cold Steve Austin wants to get the match started, whip somebody's ass, and that's all I got to say about that.
All right, so Vince heads out there. He grabs the mic from his wife, tells her he can't believe that she would publicly embarrass him by supporting Mick Foley. He goes, "How much can a man take? I've given my life to the WWF fans. I care for my family. I've even proved recently that I have a heart in terms of our marriage." That was a strange line. I even proved recently I have a heart in terms of our marriage.
Yeah. Like, little late. How long have you been married? Prove that now.
Right, it's 34 years they've been married. Just proves recently I have a heart. So he goes on, how much can I take? How much can a man take? Then she tries to talk, and that's when he yells, shut up! He goes, I'm tired of giving. I'm not going to give anymore. From this moment, to hell with the WWF fans. And I love it, because it almost seems true. Like, this was the point where Vince said, fuck the fans.
Fuck the fans, yeah. He has been fuck you to the fans since. We don't get what we want, the majority of us.
Right. He goes, to hell with my family. As far as my marriage is concerned, I want a divorce. That was pretty shocking. I was like, oh shit, fuck, there it is. More drama within the McMahon family. But it's intriguing shit when they're involved. So for other people that say, oh, McMahon makes himself part of the story, well, it's better than a lot of the other shit ever going on. Is to have this family drama, because it makes it more like actual soap opera, an actual drama, where you actually start to care about the characters and what's happening. No, it just works. So
You get emotionally invested.
Right. Yeah, so for all the people that like to just shit on anything that they're ever involved in, it's basically because there's not a whole lot of other shit. And
I mean, the corporation, which evolves and evolving into like the authority.
Yeah.
With Triple H and Steph McMahon, they're good, but they're good in doses. You can't have them be a running storyline for more than like a season, quote unquote, because then it just gets too bland.
Right.
And that's why heel McMahon coming back now,
fresh again.
It's fresh again. It's been a nice break. He didn't really oversaturate himself when he was around.
It's been a year, basically.
Yeah,
over a year. Well, a year. Yeah.
Whereas the authority storyline, which comes in the future here, ends up lasting a while, right?
Oh my god, yeah.
Like, I feel like that ran for like a couple of years.
Yeah, a few years. Yeah, so I don't know. I like it, nonetheless. So Vince continues on. He says, "This is my house, my arena. You need to walk out of my life right now. Don't ever come back. You were never good enough for me. I'm Vince McMahon." Oh, fucking heartbreaking shit. Linda runs away crying. She gets into her limo. And as I said, it's like, this is what McMahon had to do. Like, if you wanted to hate him, this is what he had to do. He had to fucking yell at his wife, ask for a divorce. It's just a good way to bring him back as being a heel.
Yeah, I mean, he took all the finishers.
Yep.
Like, he's established himself as the heel.
So, good shit happening here. Mick Foley says he feels responsible for all this because he made the Hell in a Cell match, and he feels responsible for McMahon's personal problems, Linda. So he's taking some of the blame for this. He must just feel bad for Linda because he triggered McMahon. So we'll see what happens from there. But at the end of the show, we get the main event, which is the Fatal 4-Way match, Kurt Angle versus Austin, Undertaker, and The Rock. This match kicks off at 1 hour, 18 minutes into the show. And as I was saying before, all these guys have their URL. So every one of these top guys, Angle, Austin, Undertaker, The Rock, so they all got their pages now. So Angle comes down, Taker stands in the center of the ring, Austin and The Rock go to the opposite sides of the ring, and they basically surround Kurt Angle as he comes out. And Kurt Angle gets grabbed by The Undertaker into the ring. All three guys start taking turns punching Kurt Angle. So this is kind of the revenge. So Rikishi and Triple H were sent home. Angle's left now with the baby faces, and they're all kicking his ass. Michael Cole mentions that the champion doesn't have to be pinned to lose the title, so anybody can pin each other. So you get the situations where The Undertaker could be pinning The Rock, and then somebody's going to jump in and break the count. So you get all that shit. So Kurt is scared shitless, and he's trying to get away. The Undertaker keeps getting him back into the ring. The Rock and Austin double team Angle, and they're all going for covers on each other, get pulled off, And this happens for every single guy. Happens to Austin, happens to Taker, happens to The Rock. They all begin to brawl. The Rock and Austin stare each other down in the center of the ring. Then they exchange their punches. So it's the second time within the week that we're getting that stare down between The Rock and Austin. So they must know at this point that that's where they want to head going forward to WrestleMania. Just about 4 months out at this point. 4 or 5 months. So Austin gets tossed out of the ring. Taker sets him up for the last ride, but Angle takes Taker's legs out from under him. Angle works on The Rock. Rock counters with the DDT. Austin then pulls The Rock out of the ring. Austin and Taker go at it. So you got a whole lot of good fun action here in this match. And a lot of covers and people breaking the counts. Triple H and Rikishi actually do show up. They come in from the crowd. They attack The Undertaker. Triple H gets a chair and heads into the ring, nails Austin and The Rock with the chair. Triple H then hits Austin again. Rikishi does his little ash drop on the Rock. Not the bonsai drop, his other thing where he just stands over him and drops down. And Undertaker is about to chokeslam Rikishi after that, but Triple H hits the Undertaker with a chair. So now you have this alliance, the Three Musketeers, as they say. Triple H, Rikishi, and Kurt Angle all standing together. But then they spice things up right at the very end. Kurt Angle nails Rikishi with his belt. Then Triple H nails Kurt Angle with the chair. And then Triple H does his new neck breaker to Austin on the steel chair. Now, Triple H is the last man standing there with the music playing, his music playing, as the show comes to an end. So things have just blown up. It's a shit show as we head into Armageddon. This alliance is not really an alliance anymore. It's every man for himself for this WWF Championship going into the Hell in a Cell. So that brings us to the show, to the big show, Armageddon. And it's December 10th. And it's live from Birmingham, Alabama. And this is, I believe, the only show ever in Alabama. Only pay-per-view.
Really?
Yeah,
Ever?
Only pay-per-view in Alabama, yeah.
No shit.
I could be wrong, but that's what I read. So I didn't fact check it beyond that, but that's what I read somewhere. Either on what's been the Wrestling Observer, or maybe even Wikipedia. But yeah, it takes place there. And the theme song is Sweet Home Alabama by Leonard Skinner. Great song. And the network, though, plays a knockoff version of it. It sucks.
You know what it reminds me of? Remember like the MIDIs, MIDI files?
Yeah.
From like the, music files in the 90s? That's what this kind of reminds me of. And it sounds like, how we're covering the Extreme Cast? Right. It sounds like cheap Extreme Cast music like that they use there. Yeah. Not Extreme Cast, ECW Hardcore TV.
Yeah, right. I knew what you meant. Yeah.
Our music's good.
Right, we picked the good music that we play. But yeah, the music's like yeah. And they play it so often. I just don't get that. Like, how you got the rights for the pay-per-view to play that song. Why can't you historically just keep it as is? Like, because how many times it gets played, they gotta pay Leonard Skinner, I guess?
Oh, maybe. It probably is some stupid fucking legal bullshit like that. Oh, it's petty. Legal shit like that gets petty, especially when it comes to royalties.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what it is, but you should, like, if you got the rights to it, it should just be able to be used on that product forever. Like, that's the bottom line of it. It's like, we paid you for that, and that's it. Now, you should be happy that people may watch this pay-per-view 20 years from now and hear your song again. Like, that should be part of the deal. Like, wrestling fans are going to hear the song and maybe want to fucking buy the song on iTunes or
no shit.
Whatever.
Like, it keeps you relevant, dude. No one's going to give a fuck about you.
Right.
No one gives a fuck about Creedence Clearwater Revival.
No, it's Leonard Skinner, but...
Leonard Skinner. But I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, they're relevant anyway.
People aren't going to care about... I don't know. People, I guess, will care, but, younger people hearing your shit goes a long way.
Right. So imagine, like, 20 years ago was this pay-per-view. We knew Leonard Skinner, but what if somebody that's 10 years old watches Armageddon, watches it now, and then they hear that song, and they're like, oh shit, that's an awesome song. I'm going to buy it. Or now I become a Leonard Skinner fan because I heard it. But no, instead they got to hear some bullshit music instead. It's just stupid to me.
I don't see the logic. What are they making? Fucking 8 cents off every time it plays? Like, come on.
They shouldn't be making anything because they fucking already gave up the rights to it when they allowed them to play it the first time. I don't know. That's just my thought on it.
No, I agree.
You get the rights to it, you should just be able to play it, and that's it. It's history. Fucking why do you have to change history? It's probably more so that they're just covering their ass, so they don't even have to deal with a lawsuit. Because nobody from fucking Leonard Skinner, their legal team, if they have one, is watching Armageddon 2000 to see if they're playing their song and ask for money from it.
Yeah, I think not.
Right. They're just trying to cover their ass, so they don't even have to worry about it. Even if it went to a lawsuit, they could probably still win.
Unless there's some weird audio auditing team. Audit how many times this song was played, and they have it archived by record.
Yeah, that's true too.
But I doubt it.
Yeah,
I doubt it. All
right, let's move on anyway. So we get to the pay-per-view, and there's going to be a series of backstage segments building up to the match. I don't want to go through all of it, but everyone's going to get interviewed and talk about how they're going to win the match and all that type of bullshit. And one thing I did notice watching this show is that they're almost advertising the match in the show still while it's already the pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? Where, we know what the main event is, but they keep plugging and hyping up the main event. Whereas,
quick, if you're watching this, tell your friends now to buy it.
Right. I guess that would be the only logic. Hey guys, I know it's an hour into the show, but buy it. You usually don't advertise the match when the show's already started. You do it prior. So maybe they think they didn't do a good enough job hyping the match in the weeks to come. Weeks building to this, but I think they did. Especially with those last 2 episodes that we just covered, SmackDown and Raw. Thought they did a hell of a job promoting the match. But throughout this entire show, it's just interview segments, and then you get a promo from Vince McMahon hyping the match even more, and how he wants this match to not happen, and how Mick Foley, is going to lose his job if somebody gets seriously injured. So we have all that going on. So, just kind of strange to me. But December is always a strange pay-per-view, too. And we've talked about this before. We've even talked about this just in general with wrestling at the end of the year. It usually sucks, in December. So it's one of those shitty December pay-per-views. I like the match. I like the whole setup. It makes for an exciting main event. But if you go back and watch Armageddon, it is kind of a shitty show. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But that's what we have happening prior to this match is just a series of interviews throughout the night. And we have one from Austin, so we'll take a listen to what he has to say. So take a listen to that, and we'll be right back.
I can't get it. I mean, I've been doing this over 20 years. I think I got pretty good instincts. But I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning thinking about how the Hell in a Cell ended Mick Foley's career. I woke up this morning at 4 o'clock thinking about how the Hell in a Cell damn sure shortened Shawn Michaels' career. How in God's name, Steve, can you prepare for something like this tonight?
I don't think you can prepare for something like this, really, because, hell, I didn't even sleep last night. You woke up before, I didn't even sleep. I've been drinking coffee all day. I just want to get the damn match started, and I think we'll just let everything fall as it may. You talk about a Mick Foley and a Shawn Michaels, how it shortened one man's career and it ended the other. Well, you can take all that tonight and multiply it times 6 because it ain't going to be nothing pretty. It's going to be flat-out brutality.
I know that the man that orchestrated the plan to put you out of business, and he damn near did it, is in this match, talking about Triple H. and the man that drove the car ran over you like a roadkill, Rikishi, in this matchup. Is that a distraction or more motivation?
You're damn right. It's motivation all the way. But I can't, and by the same token, I can't be distracted by trying to extract too much revenge out of those guys, because the ultimate prize is the World Wrestling Federation Championship. And that's what I'm setting my sights on. And are they going to get their ass whipped by Stone Cold? Damn right they are. But I'm looking for the World Wrestling Federation Championship belt, and I think everybody in that ring is. And I don't trust a sumbitch there. And if someone in there trusts Stone Cold Steve Austin, they're barking up the wrong tree. And I can sit here and talk to you as much as you want to, but the bottom line is Stone Cold Steve Austin wants to get the match started, whip somebody's ass, and that's all I got to say about that.
All right, so Stone Cold's interviewed by JR backstage, and JR is worried about how, the Hell in a Cell has shortened the careers of HBK, Mick Foley. And Austin says, that he hasn't slept. He's been drinking coffee all night, just waiting for this match to happen. And Austin says that he wants the WWF Championship. He doesn't trust anybody out there. And he wants this match to get started, and that's all he has to say about that. And we also see Austin here rocking a beard. So this must have been pre-recorded, because when the match comes, he doesn't look like this anymore.
No, he doesn't. That's a good catch.
It's like a full beard going on. It's a good look, but yeah, he shaves prior to the match and just has his goatee.
But it's not the Stone Cold look.
No. It's like it was like right when he showed up at the arena before he got ready for everything. Like, yeah, I gotta shave still. Fuck. But anyway, that brings us to the match. It's the Hell in a Cell match for the WWF Championship. Kurt Angle versus Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Undertaker, The Rock, Triple H, and Rikishi. This match kicks off at 2 hours and 7 minutes, and it's gonna go the duration to 2 hours 42 minutes in the show. So lengthy start. Actually, it starts even earlier with the promo package and the entrances. So the last 42 minutes of the show is all based on this. It's all the Hell in a Cell. So this is the 7th Hell in a Cell match at this point. And for The Undertaker, it's his 5th match, 5th Hell in a Cell. And Austin, it's his 2nd. It's Triple H's 2nd. It's Kurt Angle's 1st. And it's The Rock's 1st, Rikishi's 1st. Mick Foley, the commissioner, he had 4. Kane had been in 2, HBK was in 1, and Big Boss Man was in 1 also. So, little recap of the history of the Hell in a Cell up to this point. JR is going to clarify that in this match, it must be won in the ring. It must be by pinfall or submission. So we have the entrances. As I said, they take up a good amount of time. Kurt Angle, the champion, comes out 3rd, which was kind of random. Triple H comes out, then Rikishi, then Kurt Angle. And I guess it's because they're kind of like an alliance, even though in the last episode of SmackDown, that alliance ended with Kurt Angle attacking Rikishi and Triple H fucking them both up. So that's just how they came out there. And then Undertaker makes his entrance. And I was surprised by this, based on what we were just talking about with royalties and everything, for music being played. Undertaker comes out to Limp Bizkit's Keep Rolling, and they actually play it on the network. Whereas on every other appearance, Undertaker's had different music on the network. So the network has been cutting out on SmackDown and Raw, Keep Rolling by Limp Bizkit, and replaced it with Undertaker's music.
Great fucking song.
Right.
Just they throw a little run here where they use Limp Bizkit's music, and it just fits. It's like made for WWF.
Oh yeah, it's all good. But I thought that was interesting, though. Maybe that's just one that they didn't notice, or just slipped under the radar, because the Raws and the SmackDown have been edited to have the Deadman walking music.
Yeah, or it's like you said, they can only use it a certain amount of times.
Yeah, maybe. So anyway, it gets mentioned here. And I thought it was funny because Undertaker's coming out and JR mentions Limp Bizkit. And I was like, oh, that's funny because they're not even going to play Limp Bizkit music in a second. And then it was Limp Bizkit music. I was like, oh, shit. Maybe just because JR said that, they didn't want to make it sound stupid. Like, JR just said Limp Bizkit's playing music, and that's not them. Maybe that's their logic. But anyways, he comes out to that. You got a shit ton of refs in the ring, keeping everyone separated prior to the start of the match. Kurt Angle comes down. He's outside the cage. He doesn't want to get in. He's afraid of everybody. Going to kick his ass. Austin makes his entrance. He's going to act like he's going to head right into the cell. But he makes a little beeline right to Kurt Angle and beats the hell out of him and tosses him into the cell. And that kicks off the match. Austin goes right after Triple H after that. Rock and Rikishi go at it, along with Taker and Angle. Timmy White chains the cage door. And then we get started here. Austin hits the Luthez press and does his punches, and he goes for an early pinfall for a 2 count on Triple H. Triple H works on Austin's knees for a little bit. Rock nails a nice Samoan drop on Kurt Angle. So we got everybody fighting back and forth for a while here. This match, though, really doesn't get good. And JV, we talked a little bit about it earlier, but when does this match really start to intrigue you the most?
After the truck gets backed up with the fucking hay and straw or whatever the fuck is in it.
All right, so
rip down the cage, which is so fucking cool. Like that's that's not something you'd seen before.
No, that is cool. So that happens around 2 hours and 19 minutes. It's McMahon, Patterson, and Briscoe, and they're all standing on the back of a pickup truck as the pickup truck backs up to the cage. To the cell.
What's in it again? They say I didn't make a note of it.
Oh, it looks like fucking sawdust, like packs of sawdust.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is. I don't know if they mentioned it, but they may have. So anyway, they're backing up, and the bed of the truck is filled with sawdust, it seems like. And McMahon orders the door to be ripped off at that point. So, and then he wants the whole cage taken down. But Mick Foley comes out, and Mick Foley even attacks Patterson and Briscoe. Vince goes to hit Mick Foley with his cane, but Vince is grabbed by the police, so he gets taken away. He starts yelling, "He owns this damn place. I own this place. I own the WWF." And JR mentions what I was thinking. No, you don't own this place. You're renting this place right now.
You're borrowing it.
Yeah, it's not your arena.
But what's awesome about him being heel right now is the fact that he has the Briscoe and Patterson with him. He has the Stooges again.
Right, he's back with them. Yeah, I did love that too. So that's where it really starts to get good, and then we get into this last part of the match. Really, it's like the last 20 minutes or so of the match. Austin and Triple H are out of the cell, so everyone ends up out of the cell, and they start fighting towards the entryway in the entrance set, which is a pile of cars, like junkyard cars. And it reminds me of the Over the Edge set with Austin versus Dude Love when they were fighting on top of the cars and shit. It's like the same exact thing.
Yeah, it is. It's like they saved those junk ass cars.
Right. So they're all out there fighting outside of the cell. Triple H slams Austin's head through the back seat of the pickup truck. So he smashes his head through the glass. So Austin gets busted open. JR reminds the audience that Mick Foley said he would retire if anyone's seriously injured. So that's something to keep in mind. There may be a serious injury about to happen. So we see all these guys busted open, though, basically, throughout this match. Triple H nails the pedigree on The Rock, which is done on the top of a car. So The Rock is now busted open. Kurt Angle's back is bleeding. Jerry Lawler calls this a demolition derby. I thought that was very fitting because of all the fucking cars out there.
Demolition derby with bodies.
Right. It reminded me of the PlayStation game, Demolition Derby. Early PlayStation game, Demolition Derby. I love that game. And also Twisted Metal is out at the same time as that game.
Oh, Twisted Metal was awesome. The ice cream truck. Everyone remembers the fucking ice cream truck.
Yep. So the guys are busted open. Austin catapults Triple H into the front of a car. Triple H fucking jumps up super high and lands on the windshield. It made for a good looking spot, though. 2 hours and 27 minutes in. So the guys start to walk towards the cell again. Triple H begins to climb up the cage. Austin goes after him, but he gets kicked off. Then Austin goes to the other side of the ring and climbs up. Triple H is looking down from the top of the cage for Austin, but Austin's behind him. Triple H turns around. They stop brawling. It looks fucking awesome. I love the big shot of the cell and two guys on top of it. They just look like they're so high up. It's great. So Triple H starts to fight back. Angle runs away from the Undertaker and climbs to the top of the cage also. And the Undertaker is right behind him. And then just moments later, Austin hits the stunner on Triple H at the top of the cage. Undertaker gets to the top of the cage. And Rikishi starts to climb to the top. Which, what the fuck? He's going up top? That's crazy. So Rikishi gets up there. Triple H and Austin have climbed down by this point. Taker has a steel chair thrown up to him by the timekeeper, Mark Yeaton. And Taker nails Angle in the head with the chair. Rikishi takes the chair and goes between Kurt and Undertaker with the chair shots. Kurt eventually gets away and climbs down. So now it's just Rikishi and the Undertaker. The Undertaker backs Rikishi up to the edge of the cage. Taker starts punching Rikishi. And we have that truck. So the pickup truck is just below. And Rikishi's right there on the edge. Taker grabs Rikishi by the throat. Doesn't do a choke slam. He kind of just grabs his throat and then shoves him.
Yeah, that'd be. I thought about that. I'm like, he didn't choke slam. Then I was like, that would have been crazy. He picked up big ass Rikishi and has to like put emphasis on throwing him from that high. Like, nah, just pushing him off will do the trick.
Right. So Rikishi gets pushed off and he lands into the back of the truck. Still looked brutal, even though he had some cushion there with the sawdust and shit. So, awesome spot there. That's at 2 hours, 36 minutes. Hell of a spot there. So, this is what seems like it might be the cause of what leads Mick Foley having to quit being commissioner. Because Rikishi may be the one seriously injured. Nothing is said about that yet, and we'll figure that out next time. But that's what I'm thinking as I watch this, is that, oh yeah, there it is. That's the spot. So, all the wrestlers are shocked that this happened. Austin and The Rock stand face to face in the ring again with each other. They go back and forth. Austin goes for a stunner. He gets pushed off and then gets the spine busted by The Rock. The Rock sets up for the people's elbow. Triple H clotheslines The Rock. The Rock and Triple H go at it. Kurt Angle gets back in the ring and gets rock bottomed. Austin breaks the 3 count. Kurt Angle's a fucking bloody mess at this point too. Austin then hits the stunner on The Rock. The Rock takes a fucking flopping around bump from the stunner. Triple H then breaks the count, so you get that whole scenario. Everyone's going to break the count. Austin tries to hit the stunner, but Triple H counters with his fucking stupid neck breaker. And meanwhile, Kurt Angle's crawling, and he gets his hand on The Rock, who just took the stunner. And the referee makes the 3 count. Kurt Angle sneakily retains the WWF Championship. So he just gets through it all. For all this brutality, he's able to just take quick advantage of The Rock being stunned and get his arm on him. So I thought it was a hell of a match. Exciting. Started off slow, got better. Like JV said, at the point where McMahon shows up, and then it's just fucking wild from that point on. And Angle continues to hold the championship, and I had a feeling that they were gonna change the title at this point, but they're gonna wait.
They're gonna keep it around the Olympian.
Yeah, I guess they'll wait till the Rumble. Yeah.
How many times does he win? 4 or 5 times, like that,
championship?
Like the not the big gold belt. So I'm sure he wins that probably a ton of times.
I'm not sure. Off the top of my head. I have to look into that. Anyway, so Kurt Angle retains there, and fun match. I'll give it a skull rating. I'm gonna go 3.5 skulls.
I gave it 4 skulls.
4 skulls. All right, I was kind of leading towards that, but yeah. So yeah, we're in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
3.5, 4. Hell of a match. Definitely a fun watch. So there you have that. Stone Cold doesn't win the title, but you can see that his story's building towards The Rock because these frequent stare downs with each other. So they're setting up something there with them. Rikishi seems like he might be out of the picture at this point. And Undertaker, Angle, that'll probably continue on, I think. Well, yeah, so a lot of good shit going on here. McMahon's back, so he'll be getting involved, I'm sure, throughout the duration of this month in December, which we'll be getting into either next week or the week that follows, because next week we might have a special episode with the guys from Talking Taker. It's not finalized yet, so can't promise it just yet, but we're in talks to do that. So we may be covering Rebellion from early December as a watch along with Talking Taker, or we'll just be continuing this storyline from December of 2000 on our next episode. All right, so with that said, take a listen to Talking Taker, and then we'll be back in just a moment.
What's up, rattlesnakes? This is Alex Dorio, one half of the Talking Taker podcast. And even though Stone Cold might say DTA, don't trust anybody, we hope you'll trust us when we say if you love the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, you'll also enjoy what we're doing over on Talking Taker. Each week, my lifelong wrestling buddy and fellow creature of the night, Mr. Travis White, and I explore one pay-per-view match in the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time, The Undertaker. We're right in the heart of the Deadman's second coming in the late 2000s, but we've got over 125 episodes, so you can jump in from the beginning or pick and choose from some of your favorite moments, including every single Undertaker versus Stone Cold Steve Austin match analyzed in detail, including a great crossover episode with our buddies here at the Bottom Line Cast. You can listen to us wherever podcasts are found, and you can follow along our journey at Talking Taker on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks to Mike and JV for letting us plug the show, and take her easy.
All right, we're back now for an Attitude Era update for November into December of 2000. And we basically covered the championship scene throughout the Austin portion of the show. But there were a couple other things that did happen in regards to the championship and Kurt Angle. And on SmackDown 67 from November 30th, there was a really good match in which The Rock and Undertaker teamed up to take on Kurt Angle and Edge and Christian in a handicap match. And really good match. A lot of excitement. The crowd's fucking into it. So definitely a good match to go back and check out. Undertaker actually pins Kurt Angle here. He pins the champ. Taker hits Kurt Angle with the last ride. Gets the pinfall. So as they're building up to Armageddon, you have Undertaker getting a pinfall victory over the champ. Which was I think it was the right thing to do. A lot of people would say, "Oh, you're going to make the champ look weak," but we're talking about Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle doesn't look weak. So like,
it doesn't. He's not. Kurt Angle hasn't looked strong his whole championship run.
right.
Right.
That's the story of his championship run, is that he's just sneaking by. He's just hanging on to this title because
But now he's doing it without Stephanie.
Right, so he did it with Stephanie for a while, but now he's still finding ways to hang on. Whether that be, be in a tag team match, so the title's not on the line and such. But then the following week on Raw 393 from December 4th, he is going to defend the title against Chris Jericho. And this fucking match is awesome. So go back and watch Kurt Angle versus Chris Jericho, December 4th, 2000. Chris Jericho's on his fucking A game in this match. And Kurt Angle obviously is great and can work with anybody. So he just makes this match look great. So totally worthwhile to go back and check out. But it ends when Kane comes down to distract Jericho. And Jericho actually has the walls of Jericho on Angle. So Angle looks like he's about to tap to Jericho. and Kane causes this distraction. The ref ends up getting knocked out. Angle hits the Olympic Slam on Jericho, and Angle retains the title, basically thanks to Kane coming down. So, again, Angle having great matches, but looking like he's going to lose. So, he's just winning these matches very sneaky. So good shit going on there. And then that's basically it on the championship scene, other than everything else we talked about in the first part of the show. The IC title scene has the one Billy Gunn, and he defends his title against Val Venus of the Right to Censor, and he's able to hold on to that. China runs in, causes a DQ, so Billy Gunn retains there. On SmackDown 68 from December 7th, Val Venus and Ivory team up to take on Billy Gunn and China. China gets nailed in the back of the head by Ivory. Val Venus covers China for the win. And Chris Benoit is going to come down and put the crossface on Billy Gunn. And Billy Gunn is tapping, and Chris Benoit won't let go. So that's what builds up to the pay-per-view. At Armageddon, you have Billy Gunn versus Chris Benoit. And Billy Gunn has got these opportunities to be a singles star, and they always give him a title and give him a push. And it seems like already at this point, they're like, fuck it.
Yeah, him and Rikishi, basically 2 experiments that they give up on.
Yeah, right at this pay-per-view.
At Armageddon 2000.
Yep. Going into the new year. Fuck Billy Gunn, fuck Rikishi.
But I caught that and I thought the same thing. Like, wow, yeah, Billy Gunn. Boom, Benoit. Because Benoit was better.
Right,
you
of
know
course.
what I mean?
All right, so the match doesn't go on that long. It starts off pretty decent. Billy Gunn can wrestle. He just doesn't have the charisma.
Yeah, I mean, he has the look. He has
Right.
everything you want from just from looking, but
It just doesn't have it all. He has it when he's in a tag team, when he has Road Dogg, but on his own, he doesn't have it. He's a tag team guy. This is what it comes down to. He came in as a tag team guy. He found his best time in the business as a tag team with the New Age Outlaws. And then every time he's been a single, it sucked. He first started as a single as Rockabilly. That fucking sucked ass, and that led to him being in New Age Outlaws, where he shined.
Rockabilly, that's right.
And then they tried to make them separate stars after breaking up New Age Outlaws, and it never worked. So he's a tag team guy. That's where he shines. So anyway, Chris Benoit is going to make Billy Gunn tap, and he becomes the IC champion for the 3rd time. So Benoit becomes a 3-time Intercontinental champion within 2000.
Yeah, in the same year.
In the same year, he's a 3-time champion.
What's he debut, like March? It's not even like January he debuts either, right?
Right. So I looked up his reigns. He was a champion for 32 days, 43 days, and 42 days. 3 separate reigns. And then he's going to win it one more time in 2002, and he only has it for 27 days. So he's a 4-time champ for like 130 days, 140 days total. And that just shows you how often they would switch these belts around. So, whatever. So, the times of champion doesn't really matter when you get beyond 2000. Like another guy, Chris Jericho, he was the champion he was the champion the most times, right? IC title?
IC title, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
And all his reigns are short, though. And are not important. They're just, he wins it, and then a couple weeks later he'll lose it.
Not memorable. Yeah.
Right. So it's all shit. So even though he's the champion the most times, it doesn't mean anything.
Well, yeah, and people make that argument, like, oh, they changed the title as much. Well, it's different now, because back in the day you had one guy, they'd go territory to territory with the belt. Like now it's different. It's a different production.
And there's more TV now.
Right. So you got to keep it interesting. So like, I don't know.
Actually, it's not.
I get why they change it so often.
Yeah. Well, it's a different time because now you have stars up against stars all the time.
Yeah, that too.
Whereas in the past, like Bret Hart as the Intercontinental Champion, he'd have a match against a jobber and not have a real match until the pay-per-view, which would be like
it's
3
like
months.
Mr. Perfect.
Right. So if you won it during that era, you basically had the title for 3 months no matter what, because you're not going to lose it on Superstars or Wrestling Challenge. You might lose it on Saturday Night's Main Event, but those come few and far between. So if you won the title at WrestleMania, you're probably going to hold it until at least SummerSlam. Until you lose it. So yeah, different time. All right, so from there now we move on to another segment that's going on, and we talked a little bit about it last week, and it's Dean Malenko and his crush on Lita. So
this poor guy gets played so hard.
Oh yeah, but he'll deserve it in the end. So let's just run through that. On SmackDown 67 from November 30th, you have Team Extreme against the Radicals. Lena's gonna moonsault Dean Malenko. The ref gets distracted. Eddie Guerrero's gonna do a frog splash to Lita. Lita rolls over. Dean's arm is on Lita, so the ref makes the 3 count. Dean is concerned for Lita because she took the frog splash, and Saturn pulls Dean out of the ring away from her. So he's concerned.
I always felt like she was the better of like all of those women, including Trish Stratus.
Oh yeah, absolutely she was. I agree. From there we go to Raw 393, December 4th. Dean Malenko brings flowers to Lita, and he wants one more chance. And she goes, "I'll think about that. Thought about it. No." And then she takes the flowers and hits him on the head with them. I'm thinking, what a fucking bitch. Fuck. This guy's like being all nice and sweet to you, and she's just coming off like an asshole. So Malenko comes back later and says, "I want to talk to you about this." Malenko motions down to his belt. Lita rolls her eyes because she thinks he's talking about his dick. And Dean offers Lita a title shot. It's like, no. I'm going to give you a title shot, the light heavyweight championship. It's funny, I forgot he's the light heavyweight championship because they never even reference it at all.
Yeah, they don't.
And now he's the light heavyweight champion. And he says, if you win, I'll leave you alone. If I win, you got to go on a date with me. So they have their match, and Dean Malenko wins, and he gets his date. And then they have their date on SmackDown 68 from December 7th, and Malenko brings Lita flowers. Lita looks fucking smoking throughout all of this. Matt is being like the overprotective big brother during all this. All dicked off. Malenko is going to take her to a steakhouse, Nick Steff's Steakhouse in New York City. So Lita calls Dean out.
Is that
for
like
just...
a legit place, or?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, all right.
And Lita calls Dean out for looking at her chest the entire night. Lita ends up ordering a shit ton of food. Just like...
Yeah, total bitch.
Right.
The bill.
Right, exactly. So Dean says he will need her energy level up for later in the night. Lita says she wants him, and they need to leave the restaurant. So they get to a hotel room. Lita calls Dean a sex pot, and Dean's all worked up. She comes out in lingerie. Whoo! Fucking smoking. And Lita then notices that Dean has a wedding ring on. So now, like, because of how bitchy she came off the prior episode, I think they made it a point to say, all right, she's supposed to be babyface. She looks like the heel here. We need to make him look like the heel. So Dean Malenko is married, so he's cheating on his wife. So this is a way to switch things here to make him look like he's the asshole still. And what she's doing, she's justified in doing because he's a dickhead. So she remains babyface. She's not as bitchy because he's the dickhead. So Dean says that Lita needs to take care of Mr. Rockefeller. And I thought, that's a fucking great penis name.
Yeah, it is.
Mr.
That
Rockefeller.
is a great name.
So my first thought after that was like, there's no way with him laying in this bed with her right now that Mr. Rockefeller is not standing at attention.
Yeah, no shit. Rockefeller ain't rockin' hard right now.
Man, look at her with this fucking lingerie that she's got on.
Yeah.
So they turn the lights off, and Lita says, I like the lights on. So she turns the lights on, and then the Hardy Boys are there, and they kick Dean's ass, and then she throws flowers at him, and they all had a big laugh, and Dean looks like a chump. And then that leads to the pay-per-view at Armageddon. You have an intergender elimination match. It's Team Extreme against the Radicals, and it's Dean, Eddie, and Saturn. And Dean is going to hit a superplex on Lita from the top rope, and then he's going to lift her up on a few occasions. He's not ready to pin her. So it comes down to them at the end. So it's elimination, as I said. The final two are Lita and Dean. And Dean is not covering her. He can anytime he wants. He wants to just prove that, I can beat her whenever I want. So he does that a couple times, and then Dean puts on the cloverleaf and makes her tap out. Just like an asshole.
Well, hey, she ran up the fucking bill.
Yeah, that's true.
What the fuck?
And then kicked his ass.
Yeah.
Gave him blue balls.
Yeah, that was the biggest. This is the biggest fuck you.
Right.
Like shit you see about in a bully movie.
Yeah, fucking mean girl. All right, so we move on from there to the tag team title scene. Right to center are the champions here. And
Which is wild.
yeah. Shit, right to center as the tag team champions. So
I
they're
didn't
gonna
realize they got like that like they actually held gold.
I know, I forgot that.
Yeah.
And at this point, right to center has the women's title, the tag team title. I mean, what's next? The IC title? You would think Val Venus would win the IC title.
Yeah.
At this point, against Billy Gunn. But at least they're not going in that direction right now, anyway.
I don't think he ever really does.
Gets it again?
I guess we'll find out. No, does he go back to old school Val Venus? Doesn't
Yes.
he kind of just like leave? Oh, he does? Okay.
He's going to go through a few different stages and then get back to that. All right, so you have the right to censor against the Hardy Boys.
The Hardly Boys.
The Hardly Boys.
Isn't that what Jericho calls them?
Yeah, I think so. Sounds like Jericho. So the right to censor sneak out another victory to retain the titles, thanks to the Dudley Boys here. And the Dudley Boys are wearing white shirts and black ties, so we are to assume that maybe the Dudley Boys are joining the right to censor. And that's on Raw 393. And then on SmackDown 68 from December 7th, you have a promo, the Dudley Boys and the right to censor. Ivory introduces the Dudley Boys as new members to the right to censor. Devon takes the mic and says that, they're lost, and thanks to the right to censor, they haven't shown the path. Bubba says they realized that violence was wrong. Scantily clad women on TV is wrong. Bubba says that if tables are wrong, though, I don't want to be right. Then the Dudleys turn on right to censor and kick the shit out of him and smash him through a table. So they don't turn. They just wanted to fuck up the right to censor, apparently. And then that brings us to a fatal four-way tag team championship match at Armageddon. It's the right to censor against Edge and Christian, Road Dogg and K-Quick against the Dudley Boys. So Dudley Boys seem in control for most of this match. They hit the Dudley device to Edge. Christian pulls Bubba out on a 2 count there. And then they're going to hit a shitty-ass 3D on Bull Buchanan. And that's almost worth going back to watch to see how shitty it was. And Bull ended up actually landing on Bubba. So, looked like shit. So, you have the what's up, the Christian's nuts. That's when they do the headbutt. The what's up.
It's still funny the way you said it. The what's up to Christian's nuts.
So, it all ends pretty sloppy there. Christian hits Bubba with the twist and backbreaker move. I don't even know what to call it. It's like a twist and then a snapping backbreaker. The legal man, Edge, ends up getting the pinfall, so Edge and Christian become the tag team champions. So the belts are fucking off right to censor, and things are kind of normal again. We have Edge and Christian as the champion, and it looks like we're going to get Dudley Boys going after Edge and Christian for the titles at this point. Jericho and Kane still have their shit going on. And not much happens on SmackDown or Raw, other than a tag team match that they have with The Rock and Kurt Angle. But they have their match here at Armageddon, and it's a last man standing match. And basically what you have happening is they're going to fight backstage for a bit. They're going to head to the ring. It's fucking like 20 minutes, this match, too, so it's all over the place. They fight in the entrance set area. Jericho's going to drop a huge set piece on Kane, which is a giant stack of barrels, like all attached to each other. So they don't all like go falling all over the place, these barrels. They're all connected. So he just tips the barrels over on Kane. Kane can't get up, so Jericho wins. And Jericho looks like he's going babyface at this point, it seems. Because he's the heel. But again, he's getting that babyface reaction from the crowd. So literally, like we've said before, and like we said earlier, there is no heels in this company at this time. Because everybody loves everybody. Everybody's just so cool in 1999 and in 2000. It's a crazy time. All right, so we move on there. We got the women's title. And I'm just impressed with Molly Holly. I didn't realize how good she was in all these matches that I see her in.
I have to agree with you, man.
She's just awesome.
Yep.
So,
she obviously takes a different look, down the line.
Right.
But it's awesome.
Yeah, she's great here. She has a match against Trish Stratus on SmackDown 68 from December 7th. So anyway, there is a good women's championship match. Decent. I can't say great, but it's okay. It's Ivory versus Trish versus Molly Holly. And the best part of the match, though, is that the APA finally returns. So Bradshaw and Farouk are back, and they kick the shit out of Test and Albert. And the fans love it. The fans are like, woo, they're finally back. And all this shit with the TAPA and Crash Holly, maybe all that shit can stop now because the real APA is back. So that's what's going on in that. And that kind of wraps things up here with our Attitude Era update. So let's wrap things up. So on the house show rundown, there are no house shows. No house shows of Austin at all. So we'll move right on.
Yeah, so they're really starting to, lower the workload on his schedule. Even now that he's back, he's still not doing house shows. So
right, so they let him work on TV though. So
yeah. So
he's actually having matches on Raw and SmackDown. And I think this period that we're covering right now is not house shows because we're at that point where the pay-per-view's coming up. We covered just the Raw and the SmackDown. So there was no house shows. There's usually not house shows on the weekend of the pay-per-view. Whereas house shows are usually like Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
But if there's a pay-per-view, then they don't have them on Friday, Saturday. Usually. So that's where we're at there. So that's why there's not any shows. Because last week we talked about the house show rundown. And he had actually a couple matches. So they are taking care of him, but he is still appearing on house shows. Kind of normal. All right, let's move on to the oh hell yeah moment of the week. We'll start with JV. JV, what do you got for an oh hell yeah?
My oh hell yeah moment is Deadman Inc. Undertaker.
Just in general? Oh.
No. Pushing Rikishi.
Oh, okay.
Off the top of the Hell in the Cell. That was just fucking cool. Even though he doesn't get credit as it being a choke slam.
Yeah, not a choke slam.
I think you're generous if you're going out there and you're telling people he choke slam Rikishi off the top of the Hell in the Cell. You're fucking wrong.
I almost wrote it in my notes.
But he's not. But it was still cool.
No, it was cool.
Yeah. And Austin's reaction afterwards was cool too. Like, holy shit.
Right. He was like shocked. Like,
yeah,
what?
It's fucking just a cool little segment overall to what was a really good match.
Yeah.
Because a match like that is tough to put together, right?
Oh my
you got
God,
that many people in
guys.
Yeah, it's tough to keep it interesting. We see him try to do it nowadays, and it just doesn't go over well. So when something like that works, it works.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I'm right on board with you there. It's not that particular part of the match, but my oh hell yeah is the entire match. The Hell in a Cell match is
All right, yeah.
the best thing that happened in what we covered. Hell of a match, fun match. Between 3.5 to 4 stars, or skulls rather, and just something great to go back and check out. Something that I didn't totally remember. It's kind of underrated, I think, this match and this later part of 2000. It's not always looked back as a great period because the writer actually just changed at this point too, and it was a transition period. Not Russo, but the guy that took after Russo, and then there were some more changes going on at that point because Stephanie McMahon had just taken over creative at this point. So a lot of people like to shit on this period because Stephanie was in charge.
Oh, so they're not actually looking at the product. They're just being haters just because
Probably.
the name's attached to it. Yeah, because I didn't think it was. I mean, we didn't cover the whole year, but the year closes pretty fucking strong.
Right. We picked up at the end of the year, and I thought everything was kind of decent.
Yeah. Does it call it a bad year? Like,
no, 2000 is considered to be one of the best years.
Oh, there's been.
But the end of 2000, people will say, is not as good as the first half of it. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's still fucking really good.
Right. Yeah, it's tough to nitpick when you're talking about 2000.
But like you said, people just probably,
Right. Yeah, look
they
back.
gather in their little groups, and they get on their message boards, and fucking, and they all feed each other with toxicity.
Yep.
Oh, hell no!
All right, let's move on to the oh hell no moment of the week. And JV, what do you have there? This one's tough, but what'd you get?
This wasn't hard for me.
Oh, okay.
It was Triple H's acting at the end of the Vince McMahon when he's beating up Vince. And him and Steph, their acting sucks, and they're trying to like console him.
Yeah.
Make him feel better and shit, but like it's just shitty. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." He's like, "Oh, I really beat the crap out of him." It's like, it's still bad. It's like the same tone. There's no like if you really beat the fuck out of your father like that, like just go show you why his movie career didn't.
Yeah.
What was that weird movie he was in? The fucking
Chaperone?
Chauffeur? The Chaperone sucked. People like, yeah, we know you're Vince McMahon's son-in-law, but we can't do it. We cannot. You're not going to sell tickets.
Right. Can't
We're
make
not
a
gonna
star
put
out of
in
you.
Yeah, we're not going to put you in a fucking $80 million budget movie, which was big back then, I guess.
So my oh hell no is similar to yours. It's Triple H related, and it's all the segments leading to Austin coming in and saying happy anniversary, jackass. I like that part, but the whole it's my anniversary celebration and being paranoid, and that was kind of just oh hell no to me.
I can agree with you there.
It did have, like I said, a good ending with Triple H getting tricked and beating up McMahon, and then Austin walking in there and calling him a jackass. But prior to that, it's just like, oh, look at me, I'm Triple H, and I'm going to be in every fucking other segment during this entire episode. It's just, it's enough. So, oh hell no on that point. But that it's not even like the worst thing. So it was kind of tough for me to come up with an oh hell no, because most stuff was pretty good that we covered. Just if you had to choose, that's what I had to go with. So not the worst, but still oh hell
worthy.
No.
Definitely fucking worthy.
Yeah. All right, guys. So coming up on the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, like I said, we may have a special episode next week with Talking Taker. That's still in the talks. So we'll see. So next week when you get your phone out or whatever you listen to podcasts on, and it shows the episode, it may be a special edition Watch Along for Rebellion, or it may be episode 70, in which we cover December of 2000. We'll finish up the month. We'll go through Raw from December 11th, SmackDown from December 14th, and Raw from December 18th, and SmackDown from December 21st. So you'll have either one of those next week. So stay tuned. You'll get one of those next week. All right. And now let's give some plugs. So, all right, so you guys heard from Talking Taker during our little break, and this week on Talking Taker, which is on Fridays, every Friday they drop a new episode. It's going to be episode 140, and the continuation of Undertaker versus Edge continues. And I think it's like the 5th straight episode where it's Undertaker versus Edge that they're covering. But this time it's from SummerSlam 2008, and it's a Hell in a Cell match. So another Hell in a Cell match going to be covered by Talking Taker this week. Also, check out our friends at Booking the Territory, the Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast. Mike Mills, Hardbody Harper, and Doc Turner, as they go through World Championship Wrestling, the NWA World Championship Wrestling, and they're currently in 1988. They're wrapping up 1988, actually. And this week, on Thursday, will be December 17th of 1988. Also on Sundays, they drop another episode covering Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And it's episode 191, covering September 23rd of 1995. So again, that's Booking the Territory. Also, check out Our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast with Joe Murata and Michael Quinn. And this week on Monday, they drop every Monday. So this past Monday, a couple days ago, was episode 172. And in their Fresh Perspective section or segment this week, they covered pre-Hulkamania era. And then on their Royal Flush rankings of week 1, so this is week 1 of the Royal Rankings, they're covering the worst WWF Tag Team Champs. And the two that get brought up this week are Money Incorporated and the Right to Censor. So we just talked about the Right to Censor being shitty tag team champs, and Joe and Quinn are going to break down their title reign and how shitty they were. And then they also do a review in their third segment of WCW Saturday Night from September 4th, 1999. Also check out our friend Jay Free on his show, Free a Geek. And on Free a Geek, Jay Free is covering pop culture along with his friend KB. And they cover movies, video games, comics, TV shows. So go check out Free Your Geek. And also Jay Free is going to be on a special episode with us next month. So be watching out for that. And he's going to do a Stone Cold Top 5 with us for 1999 and 2000. So looking forward to that. But until then, check out Free Your Geek. And then again, check out JV and I on the Booking the Territory Patreon $5 tier for our Extreme ECW live cast. This past week, we dropped episode 21, in which we watched Hardcore TV episodes 44 and 45 from February 15th and February 22nd of 1994. So again, BTT, Booking the Territory, Patreon $5 tier. Check us out there. And with that said, thanks guys for listening. As always, please consider giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. If you enjoy the show, that helps us out a lot, guys. So, JV, any final words?
No final words tonight.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week with either a watch-along or episode 70. Until then, so long.
And that's all I have to say about that.
The next one, and I'm gonna kill you. Don't believe it, but I'm betting that you will. Stop, no, I'll let you live a little bit with the pain that I bring. You know it's only the beginning. Stop, cause you're the next one, and I'm gonna kill you. Don't believe it. beginning. Step up, cause you're the next one in number to kill. You don't believe it, but I'm betting that you will. Step up, I'll let you live a little bit with the pain that I bring. You know it's only the beginning. Not breaking, nothing in inside you. Stop making some monster hide you. I'm breaking, nothing in inside you. Stop making some monster hide you. I'm breaking, nothing in inside you. Stop making some monster hide you. I'm breaking, nothing in inside you. Stop running away, bring it on. You're the next one and I'm gonna kill you. Don't believe it, but I'm betting that you will. Step up, I'll let you live a